This video was created by Danny Kessler, Associate Professor and Korea's first PhD in wellness tourism. Millions of professionals currently rely on synthetic sedatives to manage chronic insomnia and severe burnout. This reliance indicates a system attempting to medicate what is essentially an architectural problem. Standard sleep medications target the central nervous system by artificially depressing brain activity. They are designed to force the body into a state of unconsciousness. This diagram illustrates the mechanics of a synthetic sedative breaking down in the body. While it achieves sedation, it bypasses the critical architecture of natural sleep, specifically the deep delta wave phases required for cellular repair and cognitive clearing. Unconsciousness is not restorative sleep. Treating burnout with pills applies a pharmacological band-aid to a problem caused by environmental dysregulation. Human circadian biology evolved to sync with specific environmental hues, relying on subtle daily shifts in natural light and distinct temperature drops to regulate the nervous system. This graph tracks circadian disruption levels. The jagged trajectory shows how modern urban infrastructure, rigid grids, high-lux fluorescent offices, and climate-controlled concrete boxes drives an 85% disruption rate in the internal biological clock. Constant exposure to high-frequency blue light and thermal monotony feeds the optic nerve a continuous stress signal, signaling the adrenal glands to continuously synthesize cortisol. This sustained cortisol production keeps the body locked in a perpetual state of hyperarousal. Chemical interventions show limited efficacy when the patient's primary environment actively sustains the trauma. True intervention requires physical relocation to a different biological infrastructure. A moment of wonder. A viable structural intervention exists within a rare volcanic microclimate called the 𝗏𝗏𝗃. While it may look like an unengineered wilderness, it functions as a perfectly calibrated piece of medical infrastructure. This diagram shows the system's foundation, deeply fractured volcanic basalt. The Earth breathes, absorbing and releasing thermal energy. This geological ventilation creates a microclimate where the internal temperature remains perfectly stable. In this stable environment, the nervous system stops expending energy on thermoregulation. When these primary survival mechanisms power down, it acts as an automatic biological trigger to the brain. This environmental stability provides the exact mechanical signal required to initiate deep recovery phases that urban environments inhibit. Thermal regulation is only half of the equation. A complete circadian reset also requires the manipulation of environmental light. Inside the canopy, light passes through thousands of overlapping leaves. This creates 𝗂𝗀𝗀𝗏, or fractured light, a dappled, moving, low-lux frequency of illumination. When the human eye absorbs this specific frequency of moving natural light, it triggers the parasympathetic nervous system. This optic trigger mechanically downregulates cortisol production. As morning and afternoon cortisol levels drop, the brain's pineal gland is primed for optimal melatonin synthesis later that evening. Understanding these physiological mechanics allows for a shift in the strategic application of this biological data. Many operators treat the 𝗏𝗏𝗃 merely as a venue for low-ticket sightseeing tours, which represents a failure in strategic positioning. This layout visualizes the necessary shift. Because this environment functions as a true pharmacological substitute, it must be packaged and delivered as a high-ticket, premium circadian reset protocol. Strategic positioning in this market relies on selling the structural repair of the executive nervous system rather than a simple walk in the woods. We can address the root of the modern exhaustion epidemic by substituting synthetic sedatives with targeted environmental exposure. Treat the Earth as the ultimate biological infrastructure. This video was created by Danny Kessler, Associate Professor and Korea's first PhD in wellness tourism.